Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 67th episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Excited about this episode. We're going to take you across the globe with special guest from Canada. Also, we'll have a special guest calling in from Norway and, well, also from Texas. So there we go. We got the whole globe covered with that. Special guests in this episode include our good friend Brandon Lang. He's got the podcast, the Sports Betting Podcast on the BLEAV Podcast Network, also BrandonLang.com. We'll talk to him about the NFL and NCAA games coming up over the weekend. We'll also talk with Michael Kosta. You know him as a correspondent on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. He's got a 1-hour comedy special that's going to premiere Friday on Comedy Central. We'll also visit with Norwegian country artist, Daniel Borge. We'll talk about his new single, Room 208, and he'll even perform a single coming up next year. Jason Michael of the Texas country group New Elam stops by. He's going to share about the band in 2020 and maybe even play something for us. And our final guest is our good friend Aaron Goodfin. He came and played a show live for us a couple of months ago. We'll talk about not only what's going on throughout the holidays, but a new release that we should expect come spring of 2021. If you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and of course, share with your friends. Our first guest is our weekly pick predictor. We've got our good friend Brandon Lang. We'll be talking NFL and college football for the weekend. Brandon, always good to visit with you, my friend.
What's up, buddy? Holidays are here, so it's a couple weeks away from Christmas, so it's always nice to try to make people some Christmas money. So that's a good thing. You got the Big 12 championship game, which is in your neck of woods, is all set up. Oklahoma and Iowa State rematch of Iowa State's earlier win this year. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It's you go into a weekend of football like this, you have all these championship games set in place. So it doesn't matter what these teams do this weekend. They're already playing in the Big 12 championship game. So it's a weird dynamic from the standpoint of some of these teams that are playing in their Big 12 are playing in their championship game. Some of them can't make the playoff. So they really have nothing to play for this week, knowing they've already locked up the championship game. So it's a weird week. Normally the only game in town this week is Army-Navy, and then you had a couple Division II playoff games. That's the way this week has always been. With this COVID and the way they did the season, we got a full slate this week. But I will say this. I say it every year, and I'll say it again. I came on your show last year, and I should have you file this away. I should have you put this in a saved file so I can come back to it next year and say it again. So what I'm about to say, I want you to save this. Put it somewhere, this clip right here, where you can find it, and then next year I'm going to ask you, go get that clip. Last year, Army-Navy went under the posted total for the 14th straight year. For your listeners, I'm going to say it again. This year, Army-Navy will go under the posted total for the 15th straight year. Play Army-Navy under. Okay, there's your clip. Put that away, and we'll have it for next year.
There we go. We'll put that. We'll dig it up and put that one down in the ground. We'll go dig it back up again next year.
So the Big 12, right in your neck of the woods. Oklahoma State laying 5.5 at Baylor. Oklahoma State laying 5.5. Baylor showed some fight last week at Oklahoma. Didn't lay down. Oklahoma State, disappointing season. There was a chance there for a minute. They had the Big 12 championship game. Some things had to happen for them. That's gone by the wayside. You got to wonder where Mike Gundy and the COVID and where this team is at mentally. I think this game goes right down to the wire. You lose the way they lost to TCU in a game that they probably should have won. And now laying 5.5, I think this is Baylor's bowl game, and I think they play tough. Baylor plus the 5.5. I think Oklahoma with the revenge matchup in the Big 12 championship game against Iowa State. They're laying 14 at West Virginia. This is a West Virginia team that got beat up a little bit at Iowa State last week, but at home this year, they have not lost. They've won every home game this year. I have to question where Oklahoma is going to dig down deep to try to get it done here. West Virginia plus 14 to hang around and give Oklahoma everything they can handle. Also in your neck of the woods, Rice at home plus 7 against UAB. Rice just went to Marshall, 23.5 point road underdog. They shut out the ranked Marshall Thundering Herd 20-0. This is the best team he's had at Rice. 18 starters back from last year. Senior laden team, 2-2. This is their season. Last home game, Rice plus 7 over UAB. Let's move to the NFL. I'm sure everybody in your neck of the woods is worried about what my opinion is of the Dallas Cowboys. I will just tell you this. The Cincinnati Bengals, the last 4 weeks, have had to play 4 top 10 defenses in the NFL. 2 of those defenses are in the top 5. The Bengals have just played the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, the Washington Redskins defense, the New York Giants defense, which went to Seattle and abused Russell Wilson, and the Miami Dolphins defense. Pittsburgh, Washington, Giants, Miami. So you've just gone through that murder's row of defenses, and now who do you get on Sunday at home? The Dallas Cowboy defense. That's like you've had 4 dates in a row with some pretty good-looking girls. You've had 4 dates in a row with some pretty good-looking girls, okay? Some really good-looking girls. And then your mom sets you up with a girl that's in a weight loss center, and she needs to lose a little bit of weight. And that's kind of the Dallas Cowboys are that defense that needs to lose a little bit of weight because they stink. Cincinnati plus 3.5 gets you some of the Cincinnati Bengals. Miami at home plus 7 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs have a game next week against an opponent that's pretty good. That opponent is the New Orleans Saints. Big important game for them. Could be a Super Bowl preview, Super Bowl matchup, little look-ahead factor. Miami. Think about this. You ready for this? Quietly, Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins. Listen to how much money they've made, people. They've covered 7 of their last 8, 9 of their last 11, and 18 of their last 24 on the board, and they're 13-5 as an underdog of their last 18. Give me the Miami Dolphins plus 7.5 over the Kansas City Chiefs. And last but not least, I said it on your show last week. I'll say it on your show this week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go into Buffalo and get their butt handed to them. Take Buffalo minus the 2.5.
There you have it. And of course, for more information, you can visit the website, brandonlang.com, and of course the adult rated podcast as well. When's the next episode coming, Brendan?
We're going to drop it. We're going to drop it tomorrow. And like we always say, under 18 must be accompanied by parent or guardian. So let's make sure we get that, what do they call it, disclaimer out there. Let's make sure we get that disclaimer out there.
That's right. Well, Brandon, always great to visit with you, my friend. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
You got it. Thanks, brother.
Up next is comedian and also correspondent on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Michael Kosta got a 1-hour special that's going to premiere Friday on Comedy Central. First off, Michael, great to visit with you again.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're still in quarantine, aren't we?
Yes, we all are doing things a bit different. And Michael, putting out, getting your first 1-hour special, obviously the promotion obviously looks a little different in 2020, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I have to admit, there's some nice things about quarantine. I get to, do this whole radio tour in my pajamas if you need that visual. But look, I miss people. We're if anything we've learned from this, we are social beings. I miss the energy of people. I miss collaborating with people, and it's just not the same doing it over video.
And to put a smile on somebody's face, I was going to say earlier, with people, the levity that's in the world right now, it makes it easy to keep them laughing. But do you think it makes it more of a challenge to get folks laughing at what's going on in the world?
I think you're right in that, look, every comic needs tension. I need some pressure So therefore, I can release that pressure. I can release that tension. People are and will be very welcomed to a good laugh. I laughed yesterday very hard, and it felt like I had just taken a vacation, you know? The one thing that might be challenging for people initially upon watching my special is there's some big crowds. People are sitting close to each other. This was filmed pre-pandemic. But I'm hoping once you settle in and get over that, look, a good laugh is a good laugh, and I'm trying to take you on a journey and a 1-hour vacation away from the thickness that is 2020.
Now, Michael, when you first watched the footage that is the 1 hour special coming up, how did it make you feel? Did it kind of put that spirit back in your heart, that boost in your step a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, for one, as a stand-up comic, you dream about having a 1 hour special, so to actually see it is very exciting. Then there's the strangeness that is. It feels like a generation ago because it was only a year ago that we filmed this, but so much has changed. That being said, there's a joke that I do on this special about how if we don't start washing our hands, we're going to all die from an infectious disease. I mean, when I saw that joke, I said, oh my God, it was almost like I was a truth sayer. So the good news is no matter a good joke, a well-performed joke, it doesn't matter when it's released. It will make people laugh, and I'm confident that that's the case here.
And Michael, I know that some of the talk throughout the year has been the difficulty of comics being judged about everything. Has that loosened up? Has that talk kind of been pushed away, or anything been done on that side?
That's a great instinct, and I have that feeling that will happen as well. I think with Trump leaving office, it's going to take some time, but people will be a little less on the defense. And that comes from both sides. I think there's people feeling like they have to defend themselves and defend themselves aggressively right now. There's been a lot of division in this country. And one thing that is a bonus about my special, I didn't necessarily plan on this, was I start in the middle of the country, then I go to the coast, then I go back to the middle of the country, then I go to the coast, and I finish back in the middle of the country. I don't want to sound like Joe Biden here, but I really feel like my comedy is unifying both the coast and the middle of the country. And I think as the temperaments calm down, some of the cancel culture, some of the PC sensitivity, I think that will calm down as well.
So Michael, you're really what 2020 needed. Why didn't you tell us this back in March?
Look, I've been emailing President-elect Joe Biden, but no one ever responds to me.
That's awesome. Now, Michael, what is your holiday season look like this year, 2020 style?
It's strange. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. New York has certainly been in the headlines over COVID-19. I had Thanksgiving plans. I was going to fly home to Michigan and see everybody, but I canceled. The numbers in Michigan were bad. We were advised to not travel. So I'm trying to do, and I know this might be scary for some Americans, I'm trying to follow the guidelines of the CDC. I'm trying to learn about the pandemic of 1918 because we're basically just reliving that pandemic 100 years later. And when people do the right things and everyone gets on the same page, we can end this thing and open the country back up. That's
right. And again, the new special, Michael Kosta, Detroit, New York, LA, premieres tomorrow night, 11 Eastern, 10 local time on Comedy Central. And Michael, always want to make sure and let our listeners know where to keep up with all your shenanigans online as well.
It's just at michaelcosta.com or Instagram and Twitter at Michael Kosta. I really appreciate it. I'm very proud of this special, and I hope everybody tunes in.
All right. Well, Michael, always great to visit with you. Hope you have a happy holiday season, and look forward to catching up in the new year.
Thank you so much.
Our next guest on the podcast, you're going to get introduced to him as I get introduced to him, and it's a long-distance Zoom visit today. Daniel Borge on the line, yeah. And I'm going to try my best with that. And first off, Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now being in Norway, where did the love of country music come for you? Who was the country inspiration for you?
I think I have to say church, because I usually say that I grew up in church because I literally grew up in church. We actually lived in the church, so I did grow up there. And the songs they sing in church is like the old country songs. So I think that was the first times I got introduced to country music. And then after that, I think the first one, like modern country music artist I heard was Garth Brooks, and he sang "Sometimes Late at Night," and I never heard anything like that, so I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. Now, music in your life was were you trained instrumentally and vocally growing up, or was it something you found later in life?
I started playing the guitar when I was 5 years old. So I was kind of like a miracle kid. Everybody, oh my God, the guitar was bigger than I was. So it was kind of like crazy. But as I grew up, I started singing a lot more. And as I said before, it was a lot to sing and play in the church. So I guess that's where I got the training.
Now, for as far as songwriting, when did you write your first song, and are you still proud of that first song that you wrote?
I think the first song I wrote, I think I was in high school, and I think it's okay for the first song. I don't think I'm ever going to record it, but I think it was high school. But I started writing back then, but I didn't know how big songwriting was until I visited Nashville, actually.
Now, what was the culture like going from growing up in Norway, your first time getting to Nashville? I mean, I know what Nashville's like, but I wonder what it's like coming from home for you the first time.
First time I came to Nashville, I felt like I came home for the first time. The thing in Nashville, it's everything is about the music, the songwriting, and the love of music, and it has the effect that it makes you believe in yourself, because you hear about the success stories, and you see how much people work for the music, and that was the thing that got me inspired to start with music full time.
And the debut single that you've had here stateside, Room 208, and tell us about the single, and also about working with Brad Hill producing with you.
Brad Hill is amazing. He's just great. I sent over the demos, like my ideas, and every time I get them back, it's so good, and it's kind of like he understands my thoughts on it, and then he just take it to the next level. The Room 208 was inspired because I was in Nashville, and I came late to the hotel one night, and I was talking to a guy, and he was drunk. You could see he had a rough life. He was sitting outside and depressed, and I started talking to him, and he think it was cool that I was from Norway, and I said it's so cool that he lived in Nashville because I want to live there. And he said that he wanted to switch places with me. He said, you can come to Nashville and I go to Norway, because he didn't like Nashville. And I thought, I was like so surprised when I heard that, because I thought everybody loved Nashville. And then I had this thought that we was staying in a hotel. All the rooms are almost the same, but there are so many different people moving in and out of these rooms with different stories in their lives. And that's where I got the idea for the song. And this guy, he told me a similar story that I'm singing of in the song. So it's almost a true story with a I have to say almost. It's not quite all the way true, but.
Now, what is the inspiration for songs? Where is it that you know when you hear something? How is it that the first twinge of inspiration for a song comes for you?
It's different things. It can be a hook of a song. It can be like one of the songs that I haven't recorded it yet, but it's a good example. It's like I was thinking all the time that I wanted to do a song about time, because there are you come to stages in life where you might regret things you've done in the past. And while I was thinking about this, I just thought, what if time was a man that you could talk to about his hands? Because you can turn the hands of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a kind of a cool line in a song. So that was the inspiration for that song. And other times I can just kind of see the whole story in my mind, and then I write it down, and then the hook comes as I'm writing.
Now, what's the hardest part of the writing process for you?
I think is as I said earlier, that when you have the story, you kind of like see the story in your mind, and when you're trying to write it down, you just can't find the words to describe what you're seeing, and that's how I'm writing. I want to write the songs in a way that people see what they hear, if you know what I mean. They use their mind, and they I kind of painting a picture in their mind. At least that's what I'm trying to do.
that's what a successful write is, right?
Yeah, that's right. So when people tell me like I kind of seeing what you're saying, then yes. Then I think, yes, I did it. So.
did my job. That's right.
Yes.
Now I know that you're prepared to do something acoustic for us today. I'm always excited to hear somebody play and sing for us. And what do you have in mind for us today?
Well, I think I just go with the song I was just talking about, the time song. It hasn't been released. It's I'm planning on releasing it in March next year. So you will be one of the first that will hear this song acoustic.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I use this microphone, but I hope the sound is okay, because I haven't set it up like real good, but I think you can hear it.
Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be good.
Okay. I try my best. I just need my guitar.
That makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah. I have my son is playing the guitar, and I guess he borrowed it, so it wasn't where it's supposed to be. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
So this is a song called If Time Was a Man. Have you ever been driving by yourself through a wood, stopped at the side to think of all the things you'd change if you could, slamming your fist on the hood? Just staring at your bright lane colt with a tear in your eye, wishing you could turn back time, but you know big boys don't cry. Now you know that's just a lie. If only time was a man you could talk to about his hands, and move those hands back before goodbye, like sure and everything was right. I heard them say, and I believe, time can heal everything. It could change the speed of the running sand. If that time was a man. It's too late when it's too late. Don't look back on your past. You never thought of the meaning before too late. It's exactly where you're at. then it hits you just like that. If only time was a man you could talk to about his hand, and move those hands back before goodbye, back to when everything was right. I heard them say, and I believe time can heal everything. It could change the speed of the running sand. If God was a man. Ain't it funny how time flies by when you're having a blast? But how slowly it moves when your heart gets shattered like glass, and you think it never pass. If only time was a man you could talk to about his hand, and move those hands back before goodbye, back to when everything was right. I heard them say, and I believe time can heal everything. It can change the speed of the running sand. If time was a man. If time was a man.
I like
there
it.
Is.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, Daniel, who has once you decided what was the aha moment with that you knew that music was what you wanted to strive to do?
That moment came to me in Nashville. I was visiting a bar where a good friend of mine was singing. Her name is Kinsey Rose. She's an artist in Nashville, and she asked me if I wanted to come up on stage to do a song. And I actually said no 3 times because there are so many talented people there, and I was thinking I have nothing on that stage to do. That's what I thought. But I went up there and I sang Old Habits Like You with Hank Williams. And when I was finished, I wanted to hear one more song. And then I sang You Look So Good in Love with George Jones. And when I went off the stage, a guy called Tony Olson, he's a songwriter. He approached me together with a producer named Dave DeMay. And that's where it all started, because they wanted to work with me. He had a few songs that he wanted me to do. And I was first I thought this was like just people talking. But then they stayed in touch, and 7 months later, I went back to Nashville and we recorded 4 songs.
Wow!
So it kind of just happened like a dream, like the movies, the American dream. So it's a really cool story, and I'm so glad it happened, because I don't think I ever start with music full time if that hadn't happened.
Now, what's it like doing from Norway to Nashville, and the commuting? Obviously this year it's Zoom commuting. What have you had to learn different now in 2020?
Because of the Corona situation, I had to learn a lot more on the computer. I had to learn how to use the Zoom, and the thing is, it's quite easy, and I think. I'd be lucky in the way that I send the demos to my producer, Brad Hill, which he's amazing. And then I record the songs in my own studio, the vocals. In that way, I can stay in a room like 3 days and just sing and sing and sing until I get it perfect. Because if I were to be in the studio in Nashville, I think the nerves and thinking about all the talented legends that have been in the studios over there could be too overwhelming for me. So I had this opportunity to sing and sing and sing in the studio. And I've heard that people think I sound like American when they hear the songs. I'm so happy about that, because that's what I'm trying to do as far as I can. And that's because I could stay in the room, in my studio, and really working on every word of the song.
Now, what's the hardest word for? What was the hardest word for you to get a grasp on?
I still haven't got the grasp on that word. It's literally. It's so hard to say.
I understand. That's awesome. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that.
No problem. I try to use it all the time, but every time I know I got to use it, I don't want to, so I just say a lot of words to don't need to use it. So.
Use whatever you can to avoid it.
Yes, that's true.
Well, if folks want to find more information about the latest single, the upcoming single, and everything else that you've got going on, Daniel, what's the best way for folks to keep up with you?
Instagram is where I'm most active, and Facebook, and it's Daniel Borge. It's DANIEL BORGE. I think. And then it's music. And that's where you can find me. And also on the Aristo PR, they have their pages. So if you search for that in Twitter, Spotify, all the major streaming platforms, Instagram, Facebook, I'm everywhere. So if they want to hear me, they will find me.
There you
and
go.
Please, if they can, please follow me on Spotify. That means the world if they can.
Okay. All right. Well, Daniel Borge, it has been great to visit with you. And I do have to throw this in before we get off the air. I don't know if you know what DXing is as far as radio waves and stuff like that. Do you know what that term is?
No.
Well, it apparently is where you get skip off of radio waves, and there's folks all over the world that DX, and they try to pick up radio stations from a far distance. And our farthest reach that we've ever recorded on our station was in Oslo, Norway. So our station, KWHW, has been picked up in Oslo, Norway. So now we've got a Norway on our airwaves too. So it's a proud moment for us all.
I'm so proud to get to be on your station. And right now you are on this huge widescreen in my living room. So you can say you've been to Norway right now.
There you go. And I was having to watch myself because when you were playing, the reflection of my head was on your guitar. So I was watching myself. I was like, I can't mouth off while he's singing because it'll show on the screen. So
yeah.
Well, Daniel, it's been great to have you on the show. Continued success to you, and hopefully next year we can catch up again in 2021.
Hopefully we can, and maybe we can see each other somewhere. Because next year I'm going to be in the US for sure.
All right. Well,
Yes.
Daniel, thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.